One of the best coaster manufacturers is also one of the newest. They started out by helping Intamin with some of their rides like El Toro. Now Intamin is the one who's just trying to play catch up to what this manufacturer does. This manufacturer is none other than RMC. They made their first coaster in 2011 and haven't had a single miss, besides Jersey Devil. But other than that, everything's to smash it. Today's ladies and as we rank every single RMC in a tier list. First up, we have Wildfire at Carmarthen. Now, this is a very kind of weird ride, I'd say, considering it's at a literal fucking zoo. But I think it looks like a pretty good ride. And it has some pretty cool elements with, I think, 3 cool versions, some pretty cool airtime pops, and a pretty cool setting. For some people, this is one of RMC's best. And also for some people that this is really overrated, so I don't really know where to put it. It looks pretty good to me, but I heard from Airtime Thrills this is heavily overrated. So I'm going to put this in B tier, just right in the middle. Next up, we have Joker at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. This was the first ever RMC I did, and so it has a special place in my heart. But I can't acknowledge that this is definitely one of their weaker layouts, considering it's inversion based and doesn't have as strong as airtime as some of the other ones. Plus, it doesn't have as good as a drop. Now, I love the colors of this ride, and the theme for a Six Flags ride is actually pretty cool. But it's just no competition for other RMCs. So I'm gonna put it in D tier for RMC, but that's just for RMC. If this was a normal list, it'd be in like A tier. Next up, for me, this is the crown jewel of RMCs. Now, I haven't been on this, but I can just easily tell this is far better than the rest. This is Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point. This ride needs no introduction. This ride has the most airtime in the world. It is the longest RMC. It has 4 great inversions, 18 pops of airtime, crazy wacky villains, 205 feet tall, a 90-degree drop. This is just a masterclass in RMC, and there's no other place to put it besides S tier. Wake up, filthy. This was one of RMC's first products, so it's a little bit weaker than the other ones because they've definitely gotten better over the years. But this is still an amazing layout with a great first drop into a weird inversion, then some great airtime elements into a double barrel finale. The main 2 points that'll knock this ride down are its shortness and its roughness. It looks great, especially for a big wood coaster, and it's a classic, so I'm gonna have to put it in A tier. Our next one is Iron Rattler at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. This is the definition of quality over quantity. This ride may not have the most elements, but it certainly has some very quality elements, with the first drop, the heaven roll, and the dive off the quarry. The other elements are good, but they're not quite as good as that top 3 elements. But the only thing that's holding this thing back is the shortness and the quarry crawl. If this thing whipped through that quarry, this would easily be A tier, almost S tier. But since it's so short, I'm gonna have to put this into B tier, but ahead of Wildfire.
Psst, I see dead people.
This is easily the best RMC I've ever been on, and it's just a masterclass for what RMC had to work with. They only had around 100 feet of height, and not that impressive layout, and what they did with it is just absolutely masterclass. Some people will knock on it for having that sluggish third lap, but I think it's a huge improvement from like what they did with Twisted Cyclone. But Wicked Cyclone is just a far superior ride with great airtime, some cool inversions, and my favorite part, the double down. That is just the absolute best element I've ever been on. It just tosses you to the moon. It's pretty easy to make a great ride with such a big structure like steel engines. But RMC had nothing to work with, and they still made an absolute classic. So to me, this goes into S tier. Not as good as steel engines, but still S tier. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Part 2 will hopefully be out soon. I'm trying to get 100 views on this video, so if that happens, I'll definitely make sure to get that out as soon as possible.